We're going to start on the top of Daf Yomi and Aleph today with the Mishnah, which is 8 lines down from the top. In the previous Mishnah, we learned that Me'emasai Maskirin Gvurus Kishamim, Masha Baruch Murda Goshem, and Ein Sholem Mavakshim Es HaGeshamim, which means the same Talamatu Levracha, El Samach Liyamos HaGeshamim. And the Gemara later on Daf Yud is going to explain when we begin to be shoel on Geshamim. Now, the Mishnah wants to address the question of when does Sheilus Geshamim terminate at the end of the Yemos HaGeshamim. Ad Masai, until when Sholem Es HaGeshamim, the Mishnah asks. When is the Sobsman Sheilus Geshamim, the same Talamot L'Vracha, the bracha of Baruch Aleinu, Birchas Parnasu, the 9th bracha of Shmon Esrei, Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Ad Sheyavra Pesach. That means during the course of Pesach, Chol Hamoed Pesach, we are still Shoel Geshamim. On the last day of Pesach, then we stop asking for Geshamim. Of course, it's not relevant to that day because of that day we don't have a Bakosha V'Sein, Talamot L'Vracha, or Baruch Aleinu. That doesn't appear in the 7th bracha Shmon Esrei of Yontif. Rabbi Meir Omer Sholem Es HaGeshamim Afli Achar Pesach Ad Sheyetze Nisan, until the end of the month of Nisan. Shenemar Vayored Lachem Geshem More Umalkosh Barishon. That God is going to bring down what's called More, which is the first rains, Malkosh, which is the last rains, and they're going to fall in the month of Nisan, which is the first of the months of the year because we calculate the months beginning with Nisan. So Chodesh Nisan is included in the time of Yeridas Yeshamim. The Gemara says, Amalei Rav Nachman Rav Yitzchak Yoreh in Nisan. Be that the pasuk Yoreh here, Mora, is referring to Chodesh Nisan? Is that when the first rains fall? Yoreh b'mar cheshvenu. So when the pasuk that's quoted here in the Mishnah, which mentions Mora, and Mora is the Rishon, it's referring not to the month of Nisan as the Mishnah has it, but rather to the month of Cheshvan, which is the time when the first rains fall down. The Sanya, as we learned in the Brisa, Yoreh b'mar cheshvenu Malkosh b'Nisan. The Malkosh are the last rains; they will not fall down until Nisan. The first rains, which are called Yoreh or Moreh, those fall in Cheshvan. Amalei, so Rav Yitzchak returns to Rav Nachman with an answer. He says, Hocham Amar Rav Yochanan. Certainly the Zman, that's Roy, for Yeridas Yoreh, is in the month of Cheshvan. But Pimei Yoel ben Psuel, Niskayim Mikra Zeh. This pasuk came to its fruition during the period of time of the Navi Yoel. Now let's notice that Yoel is quoted here by the name of Ben Psuel, but in truth, he is the son of Shmuel Hanavi. And Rashi tells us in Yoel that the name Psuel is because Shepita Lekel Bitfilasa. His prayers were so seductive, so to speak, in the eyes of the heavens, God above, that he's called by the name of Psuel. That's Shmuel. Now, Yoreh and Malkosh both fell during the month of Nisan in a miraculous way after a drought and a famine in the land. And Ra'av that took place during the time of Yoel is the same Ra'av that's mentioned in the words of Elisha Hanavi in Malachim Beis Perek Hey, Ki Kara Hashem L'Ra'ev V'gam Ba El Ha'aretz Sheva Shanim. A very long and devastating period of drought and famine. It's Siv Bey with regard to the Nevuah of Yoel, And we're talking about Arba, that there'll be an attack of locusts on the Tvua, and that's going to just completely wipe out that crop of grains. Yeser, Gezem, Ochala Arba, Yeser Arba, Ochala Yolek, Yeser Yolek, Ochala Chsil. So whatever grains were left as a vestige, and they survived somehow the Chagav, which is a kind of a gezem, it's a species of gezem, was completely consumed by Arba. Whatever was left from Arba was consumed by Yolek, and by Yolek, Chassid. Osa Shana Yotza Adar V'lo Yardu Geshamim. That year that is described here by the Navi Yoel as Yifshol Ta'arba Ala Tvua V'Yachlena, that year Adar was Avar Chodesh Adar V'lo Yardu Geshamim. Adar came and passed. There were no rains coming down. And there was no zera, there was no seeding. The Yarda Lahem Revir Rishona, the Echad B'Nisan, the beginning of the rains fell in Nisan. So that was a miraculous occasion to end that famine with rains in the month of Nisan. Amalahem Yoel Hanavi says to Israel, even though we're already entered into Chodesh Nisan, which is the time normally that we would harvest the grains in Nisan. But instead, we're going to plant in Nisan, Se'u V'Zir'u, and have faith in God that this famine and drought has come to an end. Amru Lo, he's got a response that comes in from Klal Yisrael, very surprising. They say, Mishi Yeshlo Kav Chitin, person has a certain small amount, a volume of a kav of chitin. Oh, Kabayim Sa'orim, maybe he has double the amount of barley. Ma Yasa, what should he do? Yochlenu v'yichya, should he eat them now and survive? Or alternatively, O Yisrael v'yamus, maybe he should plant them and die. He knows that if he will plant a small amount of grains that he has left in his possession, he's going to die from starvation. Amalehem, so the Navi responds to Klal Yisrael, Afal Pichen, even though all you have left is a very limited quantity of Tvua, and you don't want to part with it during this drought, but nevertheless, Su'u V'Zir'u, go out and plant it. And you think you're going to die? No. You're going to rely on what I tell you based on my prophecy, and I'm telling you that there's going to be a miracle, and even a small amount of grains, if you plant them, will generate enough grains for the entire people of Israel. And Nasalem Nes, they relied on the Navi, and they got a miracle. V'nisgalo lahem ma shebiksolim. There were kernels of grains that were hidden, concealed in the walls, perhaps by the mice. Umasha b'chorei nimolim, and they would be able to eat during these days what they find in ants' holes. Umasha b'chorei nimolim, Yatsu Vizaru, they relied on Yoel HaNavi and his prophecy. Whatever little limited amount of tvua they had left in their possession, they went out and they planted it. And on the days of Sheni, Ushlishi, Revi, the second, third, and fourth days of the month of Nisan, Yardu Lahem Revia Shnia. The Geshem, now we're talking about Shnia, the second Geshem. So in the days of Sheni, Shlishi, Revi of the month of Nisan, Yardu Lahem Revia Shnia, a second rainfall, which had a volume immediately after they completed their Zriya. B'chamisha b'Nisan, they had another miracle that the following day, on the 5th of Nisan, the Tfuah had already grown at such a speed. It's impossible, it's supernatural. Ikrivu Omer, B'shisha Asar b'Nisan, they fulfilled the mitzvah of the Torah to bring the Minchas HaOmer on the 6th of Nisan, on the 16th of Nisan. And that was the period of time which agriculturally Aroila Kravosa B'chol Shana. So again, we're talking about the 16th day of Nisan. That's the day when they bring the Minchas HaOmer from the new crop of Tvuah. Is Nimtzeis Tvuah Hagdela B'shisha Chadoshim. Normally, Tvuah would take 6 months to grow, but Gedela B'chad Asar Yom. What a miracle. 11 days. According to the laws of nature, it would have taken 6 months to grow the chita. Here it grew within 11 days. What a miracle. From the time it fell on the 5th of Nisan till after the Zriya, we got to the 16th of Nisan, Tetzai b'Nisan, and they could have he says, Ad Tetzai b'Nisan, the 16th of Nisan, Sheyochlu Liktzar Cholfo Rak Yud Aleph Yom.